Do you want to save money? Of course you do. So let me show you how. Today we're going to be talking about a product that can save you thousands of dollars. Shout out to Vaxis for sponsoring today's video. This category of product was basically non-existent and also not really available or attainable for a lot of indie filmmakers, people that are starting out in video, and solo content creators. The need for quick turnaround projects, same-day deliverables, 24-hour-day deliverables, has pushed the content creation community towards mirrorless cameras. And more so now, that's also true for corporate video work. So I'm going to focus on those of us who are creative professionals who do work on site for brands and companies. So if you're a blogger, sorry, I don't work in that space. Mirrorless cameras from Sony, Fujifilm, and Canon require a much smaller footprint and in some cases, no rigging at all. One big size advantage is that being so small, they give us freedom of movement. And best of all, the standard picture profiles coming out of, say, Sony cameras or Canon cameras are more than good enough for any deliverable that's going to the web or social media. As great and convenient as having such a small form factor, for all of us creatives who are working on site, there is one problem that I would consider to be a huge problem, specifically when it comes to monitoring. So the elephant in the room is really that super small LCD on the back of the camera. And let's face it, regardless of the video capabilities of any of these mirrorless cameras, they really are made specifically for stills. And then in addition to that, they do video, which is the reason why we don't have a better monitoring option with, than the little LCD on the back of the camera. And in fast-paced environments, even if they are fast-paced environments or fast-paced deliverables for social media, getting the shot on that first take is critical, and it's important so that we can all stay financially healthy. In other words, stay profitable. So when it comes to getting the shot in that first take, being able to see what it is that you're actually shooting, what you're capturing, becomes critical and very important. And this is where Vaxis steps in, introducing the Vaxis A5H transmitter and receiver and monitor all in one solution. So I'm going to share with you how it is that the Vaxis A5H is able to save you cold hard cash as well as time on set. And then we're going to take a deeper dive and look at the actual product, the features, the reliability, and the specs so that you can sort out if these are going to be the right fit for your shooting style and the type of work that you do. And I'll be sure to include timestamps to the different sections so that you can focus on the things that are important to you. So we all know that the little tiny LCD on the back of the camera is flat out too small to really help you judge exposure, sometimes composition, and absolutely focus. Like, you can't rely on that little tiny monitor to accurately let you know if what you want to be in focus is going to be in focus. And that, of course, is why many of us choose to use an on-camera monitor when we're working. On-camera monitors start at about $150 and go all the way into the thousands. So in a working example, speed on set allow us to stay profitable, right? And where I'm going with this is that if you're able to show your client what it is that you're working on, what you're shooting, how you're capturing, how you're exposing, and so on, in a way that doesn't interfere with your camera, it actually accomplishes two things. One, as a camera operator, you can focus on getting the shot in the first take. And two, The client is actually seeing what you're capturing, how their product looks, which really means they're pre-approving your shots, making your post-production workflow go that much faster. No more back and forth and multiple edits of a shot that a client didn't really like. And of course, the easiest way to accomplish this is with a wireless video transmitter and receiver. And the market at this point is flooded with them. Some starting as low as $400 and going way above $3,000. So let's say that you're like me. You want to be able to work quickly. You need to be able to judge your exposure, judge your focus, composition, and so forth when you're shooting on a mirrorless camera. You're going to buy a monitor. And now you need to also then share those shots or allow your client to see the shots. So you're going to need a wireless video transmitter and receiver set and a second monitor so that the client can actually see it. Let's say you went the budget option. You would be spending between $500 and $700 as a budget option so that you can actually monitor effectively and then show the shots to your clients. And one thing that I didn't even mention is that if you decide to use a wireless transmitter on your camera independent of the monitor, you're going to have to figure out how to rig it onto the camera. And yes, that is going to cost you more money. And this is why the Vaxis A5H helps you save money. You get two monitors, one with a built-in transmitter and the other with a built-in receiver. There's no need to rig and add bulk to your camera. This past week, I was working with one of my jewelry clients, taking pictures and video of some of their jewelry for social channels as well as their website. And this system made my life on set very, very easy and quick and convenient. So let's talk about what you get in the box. You get the monitor, instructions manual, and one HDMI cable. I have the Essentials kit, which gets me two, one of each, a transmitter and a receiver. Let's talk about build quality. The backplate, where the active cooling and hot swappable NPF batteries sit, is made of some sort of metal. I don't know this to be true, but it feels like lightweight aluminum. This makes the product feel premium. It is lightweight. These are lightweight, but they don't feel cheap and plasticky like the Automo Shinobi, for example. The fit and finish on these monitors is definitely premium. The buttons feel really good, and they give you this satisfying feeling when you push them, as well as an audible click as feedback. Every port is perfectly flush to the unit, so the buttons won't get stuck when pushed in like they do on some of the Blackmagic monitors. The HDMI ports are also premium. They feel tight enough to secure the full-size HDMI, and when it's time to remove the HDMI cable, it comes out with a little bit of force. Unlike the Hollyland products, where the HDMI ports were goofy enough to make it difficult to plug in, and at times make the cables get stuck in that port where you couldn't get them out because of poor construction. Overall, good job, Vaxis, and thank you for making a premium product at a really attainable price. Both monitors are identical in size and weight. They feature a 5.5-inch display. The monitors have a max brightness of 1,000 nits. This means you can use them in direct sunlight without a hood. There are multiple powering options. Likely the most popular will be the hot swappable NPF style battery slots, simply because there's no need to power down the unit if you gotta swap batteries. You can also power the monitor though, if you need to, via a 12-volt DC barrel connector. And that's probably more of a permanent mount type of solution, say in the studio. So I'm glad they've included it. And here's one of my favorite features. Both the transmitter and the receiver monitor have loop-through HDMI. So in and out HDMI is available on both units. And this makes them ideal for live event productions as well as live streaming. These monitors support up to 1080-60. And that 60 is really important if you're planning on using one of these to capture, say, something from your computer, your laptop, your desktop, and send that signal back into a video switcher. You should know that these are not zero latency video transmitters and receivers. The fact is that HDMI has latency, and depending on your camera and your camera settings, that latency will be different. The transmitter can send the signal to one Atom receiver and up to 3 mobile devices. Putting all of that together is what makes the Atom A5H a powerful, all-in-one solution for monitoring and wireless video. Ideal for lightweight, small footprint content creation and filming. So I mentioned 1000 nits. So let's see how they perform in direct sunlight. So the receiver is being hit by direct sunlight, and I can still see the picture very, very clearly. If I move this way, there's some glare, but it's only glare because I'm filming this on the iPhone, not because I'm seeing glare in the screen with my own eyes. It's completely visible. If I step in front of the sun, you can see just how bright this receiver is, and both monitors are equally as bright and as brilliant. I'm just really impressed. Again, direct sunlight, and I'm just moving off to the side so you can not get the glare, but it is very, very visible. Let's try to do the same thing, but go outside. Okay, so we are now outside, and the sun is backlighting right now. Now I'm off to the side, and you can see the image is still, very, very good. And now there the sun is hitting it, and you can see the iPhone shows some glare. But again, for me actually watching this, I don't see any glare, and I don't have any problem at all being able to see the image, the clarity, what is in focus, what's out of focus, and so on. So this is really, really impressive. And again, the kit just feels premium. I'm just really, really happy with this. So full sun, we get the glare from the iPhone lens, but you can see the image is terrific. So I was really impressed. The glare that we see out of the iPhone's lens is not something that my eyes were able to see when I was looking at the actual monitor. So keep that in mind. Now let's take a look at the actual monitoring options. Okay, so we're going to take a look at the actual monitor, the performance, and the reliability, and go over some of the different options. Right away, you're going to see that the monitor has some really nice color. It has great contrast, and it is very easy to see what is in focus and what is not in focus. So as an example, I'm going to rack focus to the Komodo in the background, and the clarity is just really awesome. Like, this display is a premium product. I keep saying that, but it truly, truly is. So let me bring the focus back over to our mouse here in the foreground with the word beautiful. So the colors on the display are great. The ability to see it in broad daylight with sunlight hitting the display is also great. The fact that it can be used as a wireless transmitter, that's terrific. Right now I have the fan set to off because I'm using a lavalier, and because I'm so close to the actual display, we would be able to hear the fan noise. So the fact that I can control the fan noise by simply going to the menu, going to control, and then deciding to turn on or off the fan, that makes it that much more special. Now, if I was sending the signal out from this monitor to the receiver, the receiving monitor, we would see the channel, right? Basically automatically pair both the receiver and the transmitter. If for some reason this channel is not working, we have the ability to change the channel, and it is incredibly easy and intuitive. Simply touch the channel, you select whatever channel you want to try, and it will automatically update the transmitter and the receiver. So you don't need to do this on both systems. I think that that's incredibly important. The display, you can adjust things like brightness, contrast, saturation, sharpness, just like you would expect. Backlight, the hue. I think that that's obviously important to make sure that you get the vision, or you get the image looking the way that you want to when you need to monitor. So that's really important. LUTs. We can load up to 5 LUTs, or presets basically. If you're shooting in log, any form of a flat image, you can add your own custom LUTs and then use them to monitor. A really cool thing about this also is that you have the ability to do compare. So you can compare what your camera is actually capturing to what it looks like when you apply the LUT. That is a different level, something that we haven't seen from other monitors regardless of the price range. So I really like that. This wireless pairing where it says start, if you needed to pair this with another receiver, that's how you would get that done. And for settings, of course, you could change your language. You can decide how quickly you want the operating menu of the display to go away. And you can set the transparency. And you can see here, if I do low transparency or middle transparency, you can see the different transparency effects. I personally like the whole blacked out because it makes it easier for me to navigate and use. These little arrows allow you to go back and forth so you can adjust volume or adjust other menu items, I should say. These displays come with a headphone jack output, which allow you then to control the volume for whatever it is that you are monitoring. That's also important and really an interesting thing. So system info, you can see what the firmware version is. And obviously if we need to update, this is where we would double check that the update in fact did happen. And now let's take a look at some of the other tools. So these monitors are able to accept HDMI in, and then you can change the source to receive a signal from the transmitter if that's something that you were doing. I'm using both monitors right now as monitors, which is the reason why we see HDMI in, on the display here at the bottom. Obviously we can see the channel and we can see the resolution, and I mentioned that these monitors can accept up to 1080p at 60 Hertz. So that's important. The batteries, there are 2 battery slots, so they're hot swappable. And you can see what the battery displays would be, but then in addition to that, they give you a voltage reading, which I think is clutch because I don't have to just rely on this visualization of how much is left in the battery. I can actually see what my voltage is and know when I might need to change my batteries. If you want, you have the ability to lock the menus or lock the display so that nothing can change even if you touch it. If you want the display's menu to go away, you simply tap and it goes away. And if you bring it back just by tapping anywhere. And now let's take a look at some of the different tools. So we have a waveform, simply turn it on or off. We have RGB parade. We have the vector scope. We have the monochrome RGB, which basically, as an example, I'll use blue. So if I'm looking at blue, I can actually see what my noise in the image is because I'm simply looking at the blue channel. I think that that's a nice add-on tool. We have magnification, which I'll touch on in just a second here. We can isolate the peaking by color, so we can choose blue or we can choose green or whatever might give you the better contrast in your scene. So that's also nice to have. So this is where you could set your safety markers for your scene or your monitor so that you know how to frame your shot. And of course, we have zebras. And I have mine set to 70 IRE and 100 IRE. So if I click on that, I can see where my 70 mark is. If I click on 100, I can see that I am not clipping anything other than the window in that very deep background. The monitor has a flash drive that allows you to take a still and store it in the monitor for reference later. So let's say that we are wrapping up the day today and we need to pick up where we left off tomorrow. We can actually reference via the stored image what our last take was, and then set up our set and set up our lighting and so on to be able to continue in the next day. We have center marker, and of course we can monitor in HDR. This is another really nice add-on benefit. And by the way, all these tools are also available via the app. So if you're monitoring the feed onto your wireless device, whether it be a tablet or an iPhone, you're able to use these tools also. And then there's this really interesting new tool that's something that I have not seen before, and it is a Kelvin temperature. And what this allows us to do is it allows us to dial in our Kelvin to whatever the actual room and light temperature is, so that the colors and the white balance on the monitor are true to our scene. That's something that, again, I haven't seen from any other system at this point. And of course, we have anamorphic. I don't have an anamorphic lens, so I'm not going to touch that. We have additional tools. We can say, we can flag something, like maybe this is a good take. I want to flag it and save an image. I can do that. I can mark my takes. That's what this does. I can change my scan mode, so I can overscan or underscan in case I have something that is causing flicker on the screen. That's a nice tool. And I can monitor my audio levels. That's what that does, which I think, again, is really nice. And the last tool is going to be false color, which we took a look at before. But one thing I didn't mention about this false color is that they give us a scale right on the screen so that we don't have to guess. We know that this little pinkish orange is middle gray. We know that red is clipping, and we know that this magenta color is also clipping, but it's clipping the dark areas. So having the scale makes it much easier to visualize what it is that we're doing. Now, I mentioned that there are 3 programmable buttons, right? So the first button, I have it programmed for false color because that's how I'd like to expose my images. The second one, I have it set for peaking. And what I want to say about this peaking is that the quality of the peaking in these Vaxis monitors is professional and top-notch. Like, the only other peaking that I've seen that is this effective and this clear and easy to see and use has been on small HD monitors. So it is that caliber of a peaking tool. Now let me just rack focus to the Komodo in the background. Very, very, very easy to use. And you can see that. Now let's bring it back to our mouse in the foreground. So I really am digging this peaking on these Vaxis monitors. I'll turn that off. And the last one I programmed to zoom. And let me just show you. That's zoom off, right? And I can zoom 1.4. I can zoom 2 times. I can zoom 4 times. And let me just, so that you guys can see the quality of the zoom. So that's 4 times zoom. 8 times zoom. Again, let me just adjust my camera here. And you can see, of course, this is digital zoom, but that's 8 times zoom. That clearly tells me, okay, looks like I hit my focus. This comes in clutch when you're shooting or filming things that are really small. So like, for example, with me, when I'm working with my jewelry clients, this level of zooming is really great for me to identify where I want my focus roll off to start or end. And it allows me to go into 10 times zoom. I really dig that tool, which is the reason why I programmed it in as my F3. And then of course it goes back to off. To program these guys, the little quick access buttons, you simply press and hold, and then you can see all the different hotkey programmable options that you can do to remap those 3 tools. And there are lots of them. So this is what sets these monitors apart from many of the monitors that are on the market and some that are much more expensive than what Vaxis has put out. So what would I change? Being super selfish here, I would like to see an SDI option so that I could use these with my Komodos. And now that I basically have one charger for most of my gadgets and different things, I'd like to see maybe the possibility to use that USB-C as a way to power the monitor. But honestly, I'm being hypercritical because most of my monitors on any camera, most of the time, get powered by a dummy battery. The Atom A5H is a well-rounded, all-in-one, compact monitoring and wireless video transmission and receiving system for modern content creators. And more specifically, for modern content creators who choose to work with mirrorless cameras because of their convenience and form factor. These will be a valuable piece of kit for my productions because they are professional quality, reliable, easy to use, and incredibly convenient to have on set. These will be the wireless video monitoring options or solutions that I'm going to recommend moving forward. I'll be sure to include links in the description to the monitors where you can get a lot more information about them as well as pricing. And if you're interested in saving some cash, Vaxis has a killer Black Friday deal going on now, and I believe it goes on for another 6 days. So you might want to jump on board and save some cash. Until next time, I'm Carlos, and I will catch up with you guys later. Take care.